Zion. I work at Viber as head of advertising. Viber is one of the leading communication apps in the world, messaging, calls, with over 750 million users around the world. Advertising is fairly new for Viber, and we're just building it. So I'll be more hearing than talking, but
you wish.
Happy to learn from you masters.
My name is Eldad, co-founder and chief of revenue at Kidoz. We are a content recommendation platform for kids. And for the sake of this conversation, we're monetizing kids' apps in a COPPA-compliant, kid-friendly way.
Okay, so Dagan from Magisto. We are all about helping users tell a story with video. Up to last year, we were consumer focused. This year, we're more SMB focused, helping businesses tell their video story. From day one, we are focusing on monetization, and we've been top grossing in all platforms.
So I'm Talmi. I'm aiming to help people make the most of their technology. As part of that, we're doing a lot of app discovery, driving install to other apps, and working with many app developers.
Marketing at Live. Live is a free video communications app. We do messaging in very, very low latency for all iOS, Android, and Windows devices, including wearables.
Itamar, business strategy, JV for Glispa. Glispa is a mobile marketing company. What's unique about Glispa is one, that we're truly global with 50 different nationalities, 7 offices, 24 people. And second, truly investing in the tech and data company, their own SDK, API, data platform to truly help our partners.
Horev, CSO and co-founder of Spotad. Spotad is a platform, basically a marketing platform, basically for performance, CPI, CPC, and whatever comes next. Being focused on apps, mobile web, doing a lot of data research, a lot of analysis, running predictions, machine learning, and basically working on scale. RTP is our main landscape, running different kind of methodologies of buying traffic. Currently, let's say it's kind of methodology to run on algo trading, and we kind of brought it into the advertising.
Yoni Argaman, I do marketing and business strategy at Inneractive. Inneractive is a mobile ad exchange. We basically help publishers better monetize their apps. In fact, about 80% of our inventory is apps in app as opposed to mobile web.
Hello, Keret, head of Organization in Waze.
So I'm David Kalmanson. I'm the founder of Infi-Apps. Infi-Apps is a social casino company. It's one of the leading companies worldwide. It was sold to Stride Gaming, which is a UK company, a year ago.
Fantastic. So everybody can hear me? Of course. Okay, so some of you are ad networks, monetization platforms, some are applications. Asking users to pay versus relying on advertisers. Let's talk a little bit about that. From the apps, let's start with an app.
Okay, so we've been doing only advertising up until very recently. Very native, personalized advertising, but that was everything we did so far. Now, in the last 6 months, we're working on the next generation of our product, which, as part of that, we're also experimenting with subscription, freemium model. I think that it's a no-brainer. I mean, if you can get people to pay, then that's definitely a good way to go. I think that in many cases you can't really do that. So with our old product, we never thought that we could get people to pay for it. So we had the app discovery model working great for us. We're driving a lot of app installs as part of the native experience of the app. So we partnered with developers and ad networks to drive installs and everything like on a CPI basis. And now we're experimenting, like I said, with subscriptions and freemium features. And I mean, it's still early on for us there, so I can't share a lot of insights, but generally speaking, I mean, now that we're providing an experience that people are willing to pay for, it's a game changer for us. So,
Thank you. Neta, I'm going to put you on the spot since you're not monetizing right now.
Okay.
What,
Yeah.
yes, what drives the decision in terms of to monetize, not to monetize, how to monetize from your perspective? And do you feel that advertising will ruin the experience, or maybe it can add value in the future?
I think the most important thing you just said is value. So we're a consumer product, we're free, we're a communication app. We're really, really focusing on what would provide the best, absolute best experience to our users, understanding that our core value is within that experience and with our ability to grow in a viral way. And therefore, monetization opportunities are, there's many of them, there's many trajectories to choose from, but really we're focusing on making our value the number one driving force in the growth of the company.
Perhaps from one of the ad networks or...
So, 2 comments on what Matan said. I think it's a no-brainer and advertisers should pay for advertising. The question is how and when. First, I think the app should understand from an organic perspective, user value, organic level, app store ranking, and after he's a bit more mature and where he stands and what is his capabilities on the organic, then you should go to and investigate these other channels to increase your app store ranking. Because at the end of the day, if you can pay an amount and get more than that for a positive ROI, then you should do it. About monetization, there is a trade-off between getting money from advertising versus user experience. And first, the company should decide where they want to be in terms of user experience versus having a business model. But I think there are some more sophisticated ways to have this win-win. For example, there is an ad format of rewarded video. And what we saw pretty nice with that format is that publishers can not only decrease but increase their user experience while still having a business model and revenue from that. So the average session will increase. There will be no drop in the number of users and still you have a business model. So that's what publishers should look for. This can only come if you really understand your users, have a good data, and play here, and then that's what you should aim for.
Eldad, do you want to speak to that?
I can speak on behalf of the kid segment, just not to repeat what everyone else is saying. So when it comes to kids, I don't know, some of you may be parents, but when it comes to when kids are bumping into the payment option, they usually remember what we told them last time they approached us asking us to pay for something. It was a loud and clear no, right? Although all of us are working in the mobile space, when our kids are asking us to pay for something, we're not that loyal to our industry. So we say no to them. And they remember that, they know that. So they're not approaching us if it's just another game. They're going to approach us, they're going to beg for us to pay only when they're highly engaged in an app for days or even weeks. So unless your app is highly engaging and keeping them for weeks, I think that ads would be the better way to monetize. But then you need to do it safely and you need to do it in a less aggressive way. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to do it in the Outbrain style concept where we emotions alongside other content recommendations. So the experience will be nicer, not intrusive, not taking the whole device, not taking over the whole screen, just suggesting more content, relevant content for them.
I want to offer their behalf. What we've seen is that you have the premium content where users pay for it, and it really varies between markets. There are markets that you don't get in-app purchases at all, and some markets it works very well. But what you can do is sponsored content. I mean, you get to advertisers if you're big enough. You get to advertisers and they pay, so the users get it for free. And so it's not kind of what we're used to seeing in advertising. It's kind of, we have McDonald's sticker packs, for example, for users. So McDonald's pay for it, users get it for free, and everybody's happy. So if you can think of a way to get sponsored content within your product, and you have a large enough audience or a relevant enough audience, that's a good way to go and a good way to make money and keep the users happy.
So, for the benefit of the app developers and the audience, we have multiple models. Let's talk about what potentially works. We have freemium, we have sponsored content, we have, I guess, referring content, we have, what else, physical and virtual goods, in-app purchases of multiple kinds, and we have blended everything. So what works? What have you seen works for either your customers or for you?
I can speak from our point of view. When we started, into monetization, of course, charging the user was never an option. We are a community. We are depending on the users. So, and by the way, every week we're getting requests from users. They are willing to pay and just take off the ads. But in every survey you do, there are plenty of guys willing to do that. Once they are asked to pay, don't wait with the bag. You get nothing. So whether it's a freemium or subscription, it really depends on the service and what exactly you're doing and how you can fit the ad inside. Huge issue around native ads. Basically, the end, there's a trade-off between what is right for the users first, users only. Always think about how you can not disappoint them and give them the best service you can. The whole issue of the native ads and how the ads actually fit into the application in kind of a service. When we put logos of fuel stations on the map, people think it's a service, it's not an ad. Once you put other brands on it's a trade-off. And I think the last one is that it's all in the details of the spreadsheet. Basically, I think the public figures about revenue, the output, average revenue per user in the industry. If I recall right, Twitter published last year the output at around $4.5. Okay? Only from advertisements. Now, if they think they can charge subscription from every user they have for him to pay $5, go for it. Of course, they don't believe it's possible. Half of the users at $8, probably impossible. So this is the trade-off. If you look at the big publishers today, eventually, if you can generate revenues from native ads, from advertisement, that's the best business ever. It's huge, it's scalable. There's unlimited amount of advertisers in the world. Other models, again, I'm seeing from our point of view, are more questionable.
I will disagree here. I think
it's a debate.
That's
yeah.
why
I think to say advertising is the best model is a bit of a problematic statement. I think it comes from getting to know your users and what's the best model for your app. So there are some really good apps that are on a paid app model. I can give you an example. Before Glispa was the big marketing at Spotad.com, Yoni.com. We had paid app service, and back at the days it was right for the market. We had almost 50 million downloads. So and there's
please, no downloads and no register. Talk to me only in active users.
Okay.
I'm just
no.
a bit old for
Sure. But I mean, the question is, there's an app like Riddle. That's an app utility, a paid app. Their MAU and DAU is almost the same. So if you want to speak about their retention, and on the sponsored content, this is maybe the best option, but it's only a very limited amount of apps really fit this service. End of the day, I agree. 90% of the models will be ads, but you should first look for if there's a better model that can fit you in your app. Also, I think we should mention Apple affiliates. Not many apps are aware that Apple actually gives money from affiliation for the App Store, and it's on a rev share model. There are some services that gives you a paper and click instead to take the risk on their side, and many developers neglect this business model.
So I'll be the middle ground guy here. I think we're missing out on a big piece here, which is segmentation. But it's never one size fits all. Never one size fits all, and you have to find the right users because if you're a gaming app and you have your whales, you don't want them to see an ad that will take them out of your game ever, and you want them to stay there and not move and keep on pumping in revenue. On the other end, there's 95% of the users that will never become whales, and if you have the right set of tools, analytic tools, and BI systems and platform, you'll be able to tell at a very high probability which one is relevant to which category, and then you can go and tackle that in a different approach. So I think a mix of both is always right. Coming from
So blended, but with data.
yeah, everything is I'm going to be the first to say big data and regret that later. I'm also going to say Pokemon Go and a bunch of other things, but
You want to go there?
no, not yet. We'll get there. But data has to power that. I have had endless conversations in my advertising days, monetization days with ads of CEOs telling me I will never have an ad in my game. And a year later they had millions of ads in their games and making millions of dollars a month. And it's all about finding the right balance, but being supported by data is the only way.
So we do what Assaf says exactly. So we we segment our users. So some of our users, we actually count on whales, okay, in our games because CPRs are expensive, blah 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 blah. You need I don't know if you have $4 ARPU in a regular app, it's amazing, but in our apps, of course, we need more than $4 ARPU. So we count on whales, but of course, 99% of the users, 99 point something, are not whales. Right? If you have 2, 3, 4% paying users, that's good, and then you need whales out of them. So you cannot show ads to whales and we don't. You cannot show ads to paying users and we don't, but you have a large majority of users that you simply lose money if you don't show ads to. So you need to understand on which day to show them ads. Maybe it's on the first day, maybe it's on the 7th day, maybe it's on the 30th day. We do all of these kind of methods, and it really boosted our revenue. So we went from, as opposed to you, we went from a revenue in-app purchase only revenue model to a blended revenue model. And we can't go back now because it's money on the floor.
Okay, so speaking of failures and successes, if you could give an example of maybe one failure and one either aha moment or success moment that you've experienced around monetization, either for yourself or for your customers.
But it's quiet. I'm going back to my monetization days and leaving the analytics aside, but used to work at Supersonic, now Iron Source, used to have offer walls, and in that matter of monetization, and in the genes of that company was all the founders were ex-Medicafe. So a lot of video experience and a lot of knowledge around that. And then one day it hit us to try and put a video somewhere in there between kind of CPA, CPL type of offers in there. And we said, let's try it. None of us were bullish around the concept, but we said, let's try it. And it wasn't a huge effort. And then we uploaded the first video campaign into the offerable, and campaign maxed out in like a few hours. And we realized that there's something behind that. And then went to build a fully fledged video offering. Then became something bigger back then, desktop days, and then transitioned to mobile. But that was, to me, the first sign of how powerful video is in terms of content, in terms of monetization, in terms of advertising. That's that.
I can talk a little bit about native. That word has been thrown around. It's been around for a while. I can talk about, when I joined Inneractive a little less than 2 years ago, the goal in terms of adding and some of the exchange was to shift from banners and interstitials into video and native, because we believe that these are the right experiences for mobile, and we believe that we can drive video and native via RTD, and really produce better results both in terms of the monetization and also user experience. Back then, we also started working with more mid-sized premium publishers. Before that, we worked with a lot of long-tail publishers, and we thought that these formats are the right formats for these guys. What we can realize is the fact that premium publishers prefer to sell, and even mid-sized publishers that have sales teams prefer to sell their inventory in the right way, especially if it's premium inventory like video, and especially the up-and-coming native. And when I talk about native, there's a lot of models of native, a lot of forms of native. I'm talking about in-feed mobile native, like you see on Facebook and Twitter. And what we didn't realize is the fact that yes, we can find the supply because publishers they want to do that. They understand that these are the right formats for them. A lot of them they don't have sales forces, so they want to sell those premium inventory, but automatically by RTD. It took us a while to really understand that the demand is very, very, very slow, especially for native. And this is something that we only recently started to succeed with, but took us over a year and a half to really understand how to do it well, and we failed many times with many publishers. But I truly believe that video and native in my eyes is going to replace display in the non-gaming type of verticals.
Already good.
It depends. I think there's a few forms. We've always looked at the native. It's really the trade-off between customization and sale.
Facebook native?
Yes. I'm not talking about Facebook. Anyone that is not Facebook.
The budget.
But specifically, I'm saying that with everything, there's a trade-off between scale and customization. You want to really do truly native, not only an ad that is in line with the environment, but also an ad that is contextually in line with the content. Then we're still far away from doing it programmatically in a good way.
Maybe just a glimpse of when we started, and one of the colleagues here, Michai, was part of our journey in the early days. I'm talking about 2009. Native ads, the term was invented 2 years later, so there's no native ads. Facebook just starting to play with ads, nothing in Twitter, and we need to monetize. So we start to think, okay, how do we do this? No subscription, no freemium. Okay, banners and ad networks, not relevant to drivers. And then you're actually forced to start to develop your own ad units that fit to the user experience, is acceptable by the user, and addressing the advertisers in a different way. And then you face the issue that you mentioned, that, okay, we are a very small startup, let's see how we can get distributors and resellers to help us. Nobody can help you because you're so different, and every native is so different and so unique that eventually we were forced to develop our own sales team. There are very few companies in the world that actually specialize in reselling native ads in the world. We had a great partner, for example, in Latin America, who's working today or used to work with Twitter and LinkedIn and Spotify and Barnea and these kind of companies, all in native ads. By the way, they have dedicated sales team for every publisher. Because someone is trained to sell Spotify, he's going to sell only Spotify. But for that, you need a very big user base, a very committed, and this is why I was teasing you about download, because when you sell to advertisers, the only number that anyone cares about is eyeballs and it's active users. And so this is a different environment. There are about 50 or 100 or 500 companies in this layer in the world, not too many that have enough millions of users to justify the effort of building an environment of native ad, the system, to have the sales team, to have the training. It takes about 3 or 4 years to develop a pitch to prove value. I mean, anyone can come with an ad. I can sell any new ad unit to an advertiser one time. It's very cool, it's very unique, hey, you have to try. Actually, the agencies are looking for new stuff. Even from us, every time, hey, what's the new thing that you're going to do? The challenge is to sell the second time to the same advertiser. Because now you have to prove the value. Okay, I spent $100,000 with you. What did I get for that? You cannot blink. You have to say you got 1, 2, and 3, and I can prove it. If you did that, you get the $1 million the next month. So this is a challenge. This is from our environment. And again, it's very unique because we have millions of users, very frequent users. So it's a very different environment than some of you guys.
How did location play? What kind of role did location play in that?
We don't know anything else. I mean, everything is location in Waze. And it's not only location, I think what is more unique in Waze is that we're addressing people on the go, which is very, very unique. I think our competitors are billboards and radio. These are the only publishers that actually talk to you when you are driving now on the street. That's it. And these are our competitors, billboards, and our pitch is, hey, all the billboard money, come to us. We want your money. And they love us. It's fine. So it's a different pitch. It's very unique targeting. And the whole idea is to develop all the time. And only when you do the native and you think, if we have a team that only thinks about what is new, what is unique about us. For example, I can target according to the length of the drive. Whether you're stuck in traffic. I know where you're going to be in 30 minutes. It's an interesting targeting that almost nobody has today. Location-based targeting to offer you a coupon for stores in a radius of 100 meters around you, anyone can do that. That's simple. That's boring.
I have a small anecdote about agencies that want you to give them something new. So I was in New York selling to an agency, and the agency told me, give me something new, give me something that I didn't see. And I present our concept, and then they said, oh, someone did it before, can you show us results? So I said, just asking for something new. New that has been proven with a case study. Proven case study. That was fun. That's the whole the whole business model debate. We actually been through the whole process because we started as an app. Kidoz started as an app, and we asked parents to pay for the service. And it's also funny because we sent them a survey and we asked them, how many of you are willing to pay for extra security features? So about 70%, yeah, we're willing, yeah, security is the most important thing when it comes to your kids. And we asked them how many times you use the parental control for extra security. So 70% says we're using it on a monthly basis. But we have a lot, right? We know how many of them are actually accessing the parental control. It was less than 10%. So while we want to be in control and while we want extra features, it wasn't working so well. About 2% actually paid. So, and during the process where we started aggregating content to our platform, we started talking with app developers, and their first problem was saying that they cannot monetize their kid apps. And this was our aha moment, and understanding that we need to help them monetize rather than monetize ourselves. So we built a widget that sits within kids' applications, and we help them monetize. And by becoming a B2B versus B2C, we actually now reach more kids than ever. This month we'll reach 20 million kids through our network, and we're growing, we're adding millions each month through the SDK, helping them monetize in a safe way. So like in terms of the business model, we learned that using AI agencies and brands to reach kids through our network was the best way to monetize those apps, and not
So a lot
not
of
subscriptions.
app developers are considering Kidoz in their model. This is a great example as you are considering monetization. Maybe you're targeting different users. Talmi, maybe you want to jump in as an example of a change or Kidoz.
It's easier to give example of failures and mistakes. That's easier.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's literally part of the business. It's daily. I mean, what we learned is, first of all, we never did that. First, we were building a network. Our CEO was like hysterical when that was even mentioned. And then once we had the big network, video is different from Waze, so people don't go every day to create a video. So we say 80 million users, but we don't go daily. It's not Waze. So it's several millions. And you're going down from 100 million to a few million, ads is not relevant. But then, luckily for us, we managed to put the right paywall in the app. And apparently, it was in the right place, in the right feature for the right people. People pay for the paywall for the subscriptions. So I think we're a little bit unique in how many consumer services do you have that the consumer will pay $20 for subscription monthly. I don't pay $20 for anything, right? So, except for Magisto, yeah. So we do that and apparently it's working. But our aha moment, I would say, was a year ago. We were totally consumer app and doing well and growing and everything was good and monetizing. And we always had in the background saying, hey, maybe we need to go to a different segment and maybe do more small businesses and not just heavy users. The distance isn't that far away from a professional, someone's actually doing a video for himself, a professional, or for his small business. And we have 80 million users and they all have a day job. So we were thinking about it and said, hey, let's do a survey and see what people say. So we did a survey, giving in mind grain of salt these surveys. Yeah, but we did ask our users, hey, would you use this for your business? We asked only paying users, and we saw, hey, if 5% say it's interesting, that's good. 10%, we have a business, right? And then we learned that 70% out of 10,000 said, hey, I will use this for my business. We said, okay, this was our aha moment. There is potential in SMBs, and it's a big shift for a company, moving from consumer to SMB, and we did that, and up to now it's working. So that was a giant aha.
Can I chime in on subscription? I think it's an overlooked model, and if you look at the top grossing apps in the App Store today, the US market, Spotify, Pandora, HBO, Netflix, Hulu, all these big guys are top grossing at the right top of those charts. And I think there's the right model. I think the stores are doing a much better job at managing subscriptions. Apple reduced their fees on subscription because they're going there. Their investment in China and ride sharing shows that they're going towards more and more the services side. And I think the innovative app developers that will find the right content to help people get across that point early on, and now it's still relatively early on, are going to monetize like crazy.
Anybody else on aha moments or failures?
Yeah, about something about native. So for me, native, just first for the artist to understand, for me, native, and in terms of the definition, it's when the publisher implements the ad on his side. This is something very important to understand because it's a lot of effort for him, it's a lot of maintenance for him. That's number one. And number two, I think native is not only the look and feel of the app, but it feels very intuitive and doesn't feel like an ad, it's also the targeting that's super relevant, and the user can see it as content, like you said, with the gas station. A bit of Glispa's experience with native, and what we like about native is it works extremely good with an API and no need to have an SDK implemented. For some publishers, that's a big deal. SDK is a piece of code in your app. You're not familiar with it. There's privacy issues, data issues, and it's a big deal, obviously. And we had in the last few years some good experience with working with some very big publishers, Yandex, Cheetah, Baidu, Q360, some very tough ones, and Yoni can agree with me on how hard it's to work with them. And we learned that it's a matter of giving them the exact tool they want. They need to decide who will do the ad serving and who will do the optimization, and they need to have the control that they want because they have 200, 300, 400 million installs, but also super high retention. And so that's an important thing to understand about it.
Okay. So, since Pokemon was mentioned, aha moments and such, so overnight successes, what is the reason specifically for this one, if you want to have at it? Is it sustainable, and how does it impact ad networks and platforms when there's these volatile folks coming in, breaking through? How does it impact your business? All right, you started. You start.
I started this. I'm sorry. I said Pokemon.
You said Pokemon, so go.
I'll take it. I think one, it's an amazing success story, but people are dismissing the fact that it's based on over previous game that Niantic Labs created that was very, very successful, but was very focused on just generic location-based gaming. It had a great ingress. The previous game had an amazing community, amazing followers, amazing numbers. But what it did lack is the IP, the brand behind it. And when you tie an eternal brand like Pokemon that evidently drives people crazy, and then layer it on top of a great platform, that's what happens. It's one in a billion that it would. I think people are getting overly excited by it. I'm seeing posts about you're doing marketing wrong, you're doing retention wrong, you're doing everything wrong because they did it this way. It's kind of the exception, the extreme exception. But again, it's an amazing combination of two very big elements and the huge impact that a brand IP can have on a game.
I think it's a combination between new and old. The old, something that's very retro, something as we knew as some of us kids, some of us teenagers, some of us maybe older. But it was a great game, and the new is augmented reality, and I think that's probably the game that maybe, I don't know if be talking absolute terms, but maybe will bring augmented reality into the mainstream. People will use it more, and I think what we'll see, it's very, very new, so nobody really knows how advertising will benefit from that environment, but I foresee a lot of very creative implementations of advertising in augmented reality. I think you have a lot of potential around what to do with that. We specifically don't see any impact on business. We may say that maybe we're spending more time in applications that we are not monetizing, but the effect is very, very minor. I think those giants, a lot of the times, especially when the advertising campaigns are very creative, they're going to probably design it themselves, work with advertisers directly to design it. It's not going to be any automation around, at least in the first phase, around those campaigns.
And like what you were describing earlier.
I'll add a couple of data points about that. We track everything about our users to personalize the experience. And one of the things we're looking at is apps that they're using, apps they have installed. We checked our user base about 10 days after Pokemon launched, and 11% of our user base had it installed, or installed it on those 10 days. Maybe they didn't have it installed already, but it reached 11% of our user base, which is mostly US. So there's a lot of data around that, but I don't think that this growth is sustainable. I mean, by definition, it's not sustainable. If you keep going, you're getting 10% of the population in 10 days, then you're going to tap out pretty fast. And then it becomes a matter of retention and how long people will actually be using this. So that's the second data point I saw yesterday. Jonathan from Superfly Insights. Some people here know them. They're tracking people's emails, and they have a lot of data. So they know the in-app purchases people are getting from different, buying in different games. So they can say, revenue for King.com is probably growing because they're seeing more in-app purchases, and they're seeing a very fast decline in Pokemon revenue. So, these overnight successes, I guess this is what happens, right? Like, the faster you grow, the faster it'll also go down, I imagine, but we'll see next year if anyone here knows what Pokemon is. Next month, yeah. Next month we'll still remember it, but.
So continuing with trends, bots, maybe? How does it complement the mobile app ecosystem? How does it impact potential business models for the rest of us?
I can tackle bots. So regarding bots, I think it's amazing, personally, but I think it's still a little bit misunderstood from the market. Everybody wants to be in, but don't really know how to do it. For us at Fiverr, we also don't know how to do it yet, and we're building it, by the way, at the moment. And hopefully we'll get bots out in the next couple of months. But what I do think that it will bring a different approach to, let's say, push notifications. So for example, for users that use services that need to reach them, I think that can be a great value to users to communicate with these services. The best example that I've seen was a stock recommendation bot that pinged me when a stock went to all-time high, or all-time low, or stuff like that. But I think that in general, bots are great, but they will not replace apps. They're good for several services, not all services, and they can bring a really good experience for the user when it needs communication and when he wants to hear from this service at a push environment. That's for me.
I think bots will be amazing, but they need more time. I think we're all in the tech community here, so we're slightly more just like a tech savvy and involved in that. The average user engaging with a bot feels like chatting with those website automated chatbots that pop up, and after a single misspell, they lose touch with reality and connection to that. I think down the line, again, technology will keep on evolving. I played around with a bunch of bots, Facebook bots around sports and things like that. Continuously frustrating experience, pushing the content at the wrong time, and I had to turn it off eventually because it was just, I played around with it, realized it's far from being ready, and stopped using it.
It's like an annoying content.
Okay, so disclaimer, we're building a bot. You're all welcome to use our beta. It's on Android right now. You can search for Wiz. That's our bot, Wiz. We'll get to iOS and Facebook Messenger, don't worry. I agree on what these guys said. It's definitely very early on. I was talking at a meetup about bots in San Francisco a few weeks ago, and someone was saying, yeah, but that was before bots were so popular. And people were like, what? They're not popular. Like, there's 20,000 bots built, but no one's using them yet, and there's no way to make money yet because Facebook didn't launch any monetization features yet, so it's all very, very early on. But I would bet that it's going to be huge, like Pokemon a year from now. I think a year from now, everyone here, and not only here, will be using bots. There's really infinite use cases. It has lots of advantages. I noticed that in many like mobile app economy related events, people are kind of like, oh, the bots are going to replace apps. No way, no, and people don't even want to talk about bots. But I think it's very complementary. There are different use cases. I'm sure it's not going to replace apps. It's going to improve experiences for users, which will benefit everyone. Just to give us a small example for different use cases, the pizza example. There's the Domino's or whatever pizza app you're using. You can make an order. Pick your toppings, you get images for everything. You make use of the touch screen, you pick, you drag, you do whatever you want, and it's a great use case. It's not going away. But then there's another use case if I'm getting the same pizza every week and I want to do it as quickly as possible. Then talking to the Domino's bot and just saying I'll have my regular, and that's it. And I paid and I'm getting it in 30 minutes. It's a great use case, and it's complementary, and this is like a very basic one, but with deep linking into apps, there's really infinite possibilities, and I think it's going to be huge. For now, we're really, I talked to one of the, someone was one of the VPs at Apple when they launched the App Store, and back then they were sure that the first apps would be all these life-changing productivity apps, and then initially it was the farts and beers and all the gags, and that's the point where we are now. But because the ecosystem is moving so fast, and we already know how fast it happened with the app stores, and now it's just going to be evolving even faster. So I'm sure we're going to get past that fart stage into serious businesses. Fart bots, yeah. Yeah. There's probably like 1,000.
The examples that you both gave were actually complementary in that they might help monetize existing apps. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it's another cross-platform channel it's cross-platform by design. Like when I'm using an app, in most cases I have it on my mobile and that's it. If there's a bot on Facebook Messenger, I can use it when I'm on desktop. So it's improving the way I can interact with the service, and it's totally complementary.
I think just to sort of develop where you were going with the pizza example. So you're saying bots will tell you, oh, I know what pizza you like every week, and therefore I'm going to just offer you to purchase it with a click. If we combine bots, and we combine Google Now, and we combine Waze, and we combine Siri, and if we think about all the platforms that are now sitting on here, but here's an Apple Watch. Most of you don't have one on you right now, or Android Wear, but soon enough we'll be feeling that it's really funny that we lug these things around all the time. So we know that you have a meeting. We know that it's going to end at 8:30. We know that you have to pick up your kids from the pool later. So it's going to ping you at the right moment and tell you, hey, I think it's time to order your pizza now. And that's different, right? And it's not even, it's going to be in voice, because most of the searches are going to be in voice, right? Our entire interaction with our screens, our entire interaction with the platforms that we use is going to be different. So when you combine that with Pokemon Go, I think augmented reality, I think sky's the limit, but for real, things are changing in a way that's way more contextual. It's just the beginning, and the way that we're going to even interact with these services are going to offer so much more advertising opportunity that's really on point, right?
And talking so primitive, why don't we just think?
That's the next
Yeah,
step. Longer.
Something in the roadmap.
So, anything else in terms of trends that you can think about that is now getting super interesting? Maybe folks from this panel would be folks you'd like to partner with around these kind of upcoming trends. Is there anything else?
The mention Snapchat yet, and we didn't mention social influencers. And social influencers is a product we just launched recently. Think of the YouTube influencer with 20, 30 million or followers, and think of the distribution power he has. He made it in every platform, Instagram to Facebook. And what's interesting there is the user doesn't see it as an ad, he sees it just as recommended content. And because of the number of ads people see today in all their channels, we see super high value from this kind of marketing. And actually this has been working for a long, long time out of the radar. If you'll go to the App Store searches, you'll see that 90% of these keywords searches is actually ruled by these influencers. But why is this happening? Because on Instagram, you can't have a clickable ad. You need to have the link in the bio, and then you could just tell the user to look for a specific word, and then that word becomes very popular. So that's what's happening. So now with Glispa, we just launched a product called Voltu to try to have a trackable, measurable ecosystem for this kind of business. So that's one thing that is pretty trendy. And second, about Snapchat. So first, just to understand what's going on in Snapchat, the eCPM on Snapchat is 10 times higher than on Facebook. Just let's understand how massive is this opportunity. What's interesting about Snapchat is all the model is built in a way that after that the user sees, so the content is there for 24 hours. So if I'm a user, I need to go every day to see who saw my content, to see other people's content, and that creates a very high DAO. A very high DAO has a very high retention. This starts the whole cycle of the power that Snapchat has today. Combine that with young adults and a lot of them going to Snapchat because their parents are on Facebook, so it's not irrelevant anymore from them, and that's what's happening. That's the phenomenon. Even Shimon Peres from last week has a new Snapchat account.
And I thought I was too old for Snapchat. I think, I share the sentiment around Snapchat. I'm very bullish on that. I think it's an amazing platform that managed to catch the right audience at the right time. They're making the right plays. They're investing a lot in their advertising platform. But I think the numbers right now are deceiving. If you look at Facebook's numbers a couple of years ago, earlier on, without close to 2 billion users, you'll see similar numbers. They're seeing that average, if you count the amount of ads an average Snapchat user sees versus the amount of ads a Facebook user sees, you'll see a huge difference, I'm sure. It's early on in a very hot platform. They're going to keep on growing, and the average revenue there is going to start dropping, in my view, or they can keep the frequency of ads there very, very low, but then that's going to impact their ability to scale. They all have investors that are going to need to show growth month over month, year over year, and that the amount of ads every user on Snapchat will see is bound to increase dramatically over the next couple of years, I'm sure.
I'm going to try to maybe mention a trend that I'm not seeing strong enough, probably a trend that all of us want to see. But first, since the Pokemon guys are watching us, I'm sure, I want to tell them something, because I used to count on, I thought that I can count on them that they will take our kids out. But right now, I'm taking my daughter, and she's in the back seat, and she just tells me, slow down, stop it. So that's not virtual reality. She's just watching, driving with me. It's not even taking her to the outside of the house or in the car. So Pokemon guys, fix this. The trend that I'm not seeing is seeing very slowly happening is the entrance of brands to mobile. We see most of the advertisers are mobile-first companies, and they want to advertise apps, and the big money is still on the TV. They probably shift to YouTube because, how can you go wrong when you choose YouTube? But I'm not seeing the big money from TV entering the mobile. It's early days, and I think we all count on them to start. Maybe the guys here would say, how do they see it? And because the eCPMs will rise only when we'll start seeing the brands, inside those small screens. And it's not strong enough. What do you think?
Directed to me. In terms of the reports and the numbers I'm seeing from eMarketer and all these guys, mobile is growing at an insane pace, taking in some markets already more than the other pieces of digital, but also kind of getting more and more of the traditional advertising numbers. So again, I think there is a challenge here. You can't compare a small device to a big screen in terms of the experience, in terms of the way things work. But I do believe that mobile is going to eat up a lot of the traditional marketing budgets. Just looking at Facebook's numbers, as the market leader in that space, their pitch is to TV advertisers. They're not pitching, they know the direct response and the mobile first guys are there, and they're going to stay there as long as they have ROI positive numbers in there. They're going to pump in as much revenue in there. If Facebook is going to keep growing at that pace, they're bound, and they have to continue that growth. They have to find a way to pull that money out of TV and into Facebook, because at the end of the day, Facebook today in most countries, they have better reach than TV, and definitely better targeting and segmentation, and all the other platforms as well.
So we're doing a lot of video. Actually, about almost 30% of our revenue comes from video. This is up from less than 10% last year. But the money that goes to mobile video is not coming from TV. It's probably coming from desktop video. And in the US, for many years, there was this trend called share shift. I worked with Yao back in 2011 in New York. We had a big conference about share shift, and the challenge was how do we pull those TV budgets into online video, not mobile, online video. It's very, very difficult. People try to, the industry trying to establish the same benchmarks, like GRP and TRP, and selling combined packages, CBS, NBC, trying to sell both the big TV budget and the complementary online video packages. It's still a very, very big challenge. Advertisers love the big screen because of the experience, the video experience that the big brand awareness play. And what we're seeing right now is everybody's looking at connected TV or programmatic TV. And the big advertisers are also looking at programmatic TV. So I think that it's not going away from TV. It's probably going to stay in TV and get even bigger because of connected TV. And I think all in all, at the end, we'll have a cross-screen video experience. People will allocate budgets differently, plan their campaigns differently, and not just repurpose TV ads. They'll create specific video ads for mobile, 6-second video ads. We're already seeing it in the US. So it's not going to shift from TV to mobile. Mobile is going to grow. TV is going to grow. Video is going to grow in general. It's going to be very, very cross-screen.
I think TV's growing. I think it's growing more down.
It's growing.
I think it's tech-wise, there's a generation change that has to happen in the advertisers and the agencies. You still have people at the C-level at the agencies that are at a decent age, let's say, to be polite, coming from TV, they know what they're doing, and there is a change that's going to happen in the generation. So how is the C-level going to become people that are actually came from digital? It's going to be a huge change. Never happened yet, but it's going to happen. It's going to take about 10 years. I think another thing that's going to happen is really that the TV on demand going to control. It's so primitive to actually wait for the TV show to start at the time that actually the channel decides to broadcast it. It makes no sense. I want to see it. I want to see it. So I think there's a huge, huge change that's going to happen on the TV, and I really hope that whether it's 5, 10, or 20 years, the 30 seconds breaks of TV will disappear. It makes no sense. Press going to disappear. Everything going to be digital. The Harry Potter newspaper is going to be live with videos on. You can click everything in a very nice thin tablet that actually almost feel like a paper. Billboards. tons of pilots of amazing digital billboards, very thin screens, very targeted, can sense your Bluetooth of other stuff. This whole environment change just takes a lot of time, just a lot of time. It's about 10 or 20 years.
A connection with the Karsenti in the audience. I was told he was wrong about TV advertising, dropping from 39.1 share to 37.7 and into 32.9 in 2020 from 2014, while digital is going to cross over TV next year. So eMarketer published March this year. Thank you. My drop.
Let's share, not totally perfect.
Yeah,
Let's share, not totally.
what we see in the market,
The
what
share
we
is
see in the
not
market,
the aspect is not. It's stop.
what we see in the market is a little different. These may be the case in 5 years, I don't know, I'm not a prophet, but what we're seeing in the market is actually very different. And I can say that specifically for mobile video, so there's a big opportunity for all the non-premium publishers with video, because up until a few years ago, you were very dependent, unless you count in-banner video, and you don't count in-banner video, you were very dependent on creating video content, or somehow generating or syndicating video content in order to play roles and enjoy those high CPMs of video. What we're seeing in mobile right now is there are a lot of different units, video units, that are not dependent on content, like native video, like interstitial video, like outstream, in-read video within articles. So we're seeing more and more of these things. It also benefits video. If you count them as video.
I think one thing for that in terms of demand, and the point is that the ecosystem actually diverse the business. The agencies, the big ones, OMD, 360, and all of those, they have the big budgets. Some of them do have good account managers. They do tend to feel programmatic. They do tend to work with agencies, with some of the companies that are not here, like Ironsoul, Supersonic. They're working with them. The thing is that the processes is very slow, but the demand is there. And we see much more video being pulled on cable. Big budgets, Hulu, HBO, they are all out. Video programmatic and attribution is a big problem. So I'm pointing to AppsFlyer because there is a big problem on attribution. They look for performance still. When the context for digital or mobile, it's not just branding. Like they look for actions. They want to see things that are going on outside from the app.
But they still pay,
And they pay ICPM, but they still, they count you for another channel. They count you for another channel. And there are a lot of platforms right now that are developing really good video placements, native video even. They're doing really good monetization. It's just a matter of time. The money will come. The money is pouring already in specific regions. We see US. I can definitely evidence also China. But the fact is that it just, the money is being held by people that are not that technical. And they do not have the means right now to go outside. So they work currently with some big guys. Definitely will go there. And programmatic is it's the path. It's the way to bridge between those different players and really down into the platform that can buy the media.
we try to survive right now.
I agree. Just to add 2 points first, the opportunity is so big because today a lot of agencies have budget for mobile or some big brand just because the consulting company, BCG or McKinsey, told them they need at least 2% to go to mobile. So and they don't have zero clue on what's going on there. That's number one. Number two, the screens are getting bigger, and one of the reasons I think is so video will be more attractive on the bigger screens. And I think this is a game changer where the brands go to mobile for the monetization. Because on the brand campaign is a different game than the performance one. And companies down the road combining CPM from brands and CPI from performance on the monetization side channel can create huge combined CPM. Because the brand will have maybe low fill rate with the high CPM, and the network CPI will have the opposite. And this combination will be huge for publishers to really create bigger business models. And it is also part of the ad blocking game. And it's also, I problem in ad tech today. And because people are not satisfied from the experience they see. And for me, first, the discussion on ad blocking is ridiculous. I think the solution should come only from the right ad formats and the right targeting, the right content. But
So is ad blocking obsolete, in particular, given the native type of advertising, or is it getting a second wind now?
so today, if you have an ad blocker and you go to a big publisher, Forbes.com, you'll be blocked to see the content. I don't think this is the solution for this. There's companies like Shine trying to tackle it from the network level. End of the day, publishers are losing traction, losing money. I think the solution will come with the right ad formats.
Sivan, just quick, how many here are using ad blockers? Let's start there. Anybody who's using an ad blocker?
No, we love that.
Are you using an ad blocker?
Listen, we're the ones that we're the ones that use the ad blocker.
Put them all against the
You know, but I know I've done round tables in the past, and I maybe, first I think all the numbers are inflated. There's no way 25% of the people are using ad blockers. Just no way. Publishers are not dying of, there would be bleeding revenue if that was the case. Some publishers are seeing a lot more, and they're trying to circumvent it. But I definitely don't think it's hit the mainstream where it's, advertisers and publishers are just losing money, where they're leaving a ton of money on the table. They're trying to figure out ways. It's not, I just don't, I haven't heard of an industry yet where that's really happened. The one thing I do see that more is the branded content, and native is trying to take more, a bigger piece of the pie in a sense, from traditional advertising which is being affected by the ad blockers per se. But I don't think ad blocking is that big of a threat at the moment. I mean, again, that's my opinion.
I beg to differ. I think ad blocking is a new form of software piracy to some respect. You're getting access to content that had a lot of effort, a lot of work, a lot of, at the end of the day, money poured into it. And you say, you know what, I don't want to pay for that. If you don't want to pay for that, you don't have to consume it. It's like going to the supermarket and saying, I don't want to pay for that item. I'll just go take it with me and go. It's the same thing. Or download songs for absolutely nothing else. And that's why I think blended content again to me is the answer. I think there are actually amazing examples of content subscription services, and some of them are mixing it up. Hulu with both a paid and an ad-supported model is one example. There are a ton of others. And to me, seeing people that push ad blocking as a rail of user experience and fun and joy, at the end of the day, half of these companies are making money of pushing their ad blockers, so kind of beats the purpose. That's money that basically wasn't going to go to a pocket of someone that created the content that you blocked the ad for.
It goes back to the user experience, though, and what they prefer.
Yeah, I think for the sake of principles, people will pay an ad blocker and not pay the content creator, which makes you feel a little stupid in some respects, and because you say, okay, I created this content for people to enjoy, to consume, and I need to monetize because we all need to make money. And at the end of the day, that's kind of challenging, at least from my perspective.
So we are always looking for high quality users, so it's a bit of going back to the past, but I think search is going to be big. It's a great sentence. But what we see really in our KPIs and AppsFlyer, of course, know our numbers as well. If we can buy, the problem is that there is not enough inventory usually because Google dominates the market, and now Apple is opening the App Store for search paid advertising. It's going to be huge for high quality users. Apple is going to print money, and I think
opposed to what they've done so far.
More
continue printing more.
Yeah, and it will kill probably that you should many from the ad industry, you should also try this field of search marketing through Google and Apple if you can. We see, I think it's the best results we've had, and we've tried probably every ad network in Israel, of course, but the larger ones in the world. the best result that we've seen since today for paid download. And suppose just to think about the things that went bad for us, just going back again to the past, we've tried incentivized downloads, which is the most horrific thing in the world. You buy nothing actually, and also boost campaigns, which is another way of saying downloads that you have no idea where they got them from, maybe bots, maybe incentivized, maybe. Don't go there, don't spend money. We've spent lots of money on this. And if you get even, like you said, if you get even 200,000, and we got 200,000, 300,000 downloads from these campaigns, it was $300,000 that are worth $0. And we thought, how come zero? Because we showed them ads. Because we saw those users and we showed them ads. But of course, these users probably are bots or whatever. They didn't even press the ad. So yeah, it's a total waste of money. Don't buy it.
I need to add one point. If there's something if you're an app developer, there's something you want to take from about the incentivize. Not only you don't get ads, you harm your app ranking place, and this is a very important point. And in the past, there was an opportunity with Apple and Google stores to just buy very cheap users, incentivize traffic, get a lot of installs, be number one in your category, and get a lot of organic.
For one day.
Exactly.
For one day.
I mean, that was the good days. Because today what happened, Apple and Google changed the model that the retention in the amount of use of the downloads, after downloads, that's the biggest indicator for your App Store ranking. So not only you're spending money for installs that don't give you ads or any other business model, also you're harming your retention score, thus harming your App Store ranking, and then eventually you'll go much more down. So it's a very important recommendation.
So let's take a couple of questions maybe from the audience. I saw one over there.
Yeah, just going back to.
Do you want to say your name?
אמיר חלפון, עבדתי די הרבה שנים בתחום של data management, data services, and going back to your, or a few other mentioned big data, there is this notion of data monetization. Do you see that as any sort of possible revenue stream? Not just supporting ads, but as its own monetization strategy? Selling?
Things our web are doing nicely, right?
No, I think data monetization is a viable model. It's part of why Facebook bought WhatsApp. They're not putting ads in there, but they get your entire phone book and a bunch of additional information. So I think there's a lot to do with the data monetization. I think location data monetization is via advertising, but that's exactly what Waze is doing to some respects.
There are a few companies like Exit and PlaySecure that are doing data monetization. They're not very successful and they are declining.
That's what you mentioned earlier about just giving somebody a coupon based on their location. You're seeing that as not interesting.
They are declining.
I think that for DMPs or anyone that wants to buy data from a DMP, not all the time the quality of the data proves to be money in the bank. Meaning I can buy segments, but definitely that doesn't mean that I can match the right ad and make money out of it. So there is a path that, going through different kind of DMPs, qualify them, and the ranking are, like there's Luca and there are some other kind of platforms like that, but definitely when you are going on the excursion of finding the right DMP, you need to find first of all what your KPIs and how to measure them. Data is out there. Some of those different DMPs have gone bankrupt during the years. Some of them went really well, like Accelerate, and they have been bought. So, and Crosswise for making cross identification. So that's mainly a business for databases that do have unique kind of data, but also relate to what the advertiser wants. Meaning, it's not just segments of HHI. HHI is something that Facebook is probably one of the best names, Blue Kite, are getting MasterCard. So these are data that are out there. Some of them are doing really well, but it's really few, really few.
Possibly the apps still have a challenge of realizing who their high LTV users are and using their own data to monetize better their own apps. For most apps, that would be the challenge, direct challenge, rather than selling the data. I also venture, that folks like Live maybe in the future intend to do something that part of building the app for free is a future view of using that data and being worth like.
I think that there is one point that we see today, an ongoing trend, basically come from the wealth to share more data on LTV and users from their end, which was a big issue because of privacy. Some of the reasons that there's, I don't know if anyone knows LiveRamp, for instance, it's basically a data exchange platform. So it serves the privacy, but basically they don't have the data themselves. Someone onboard the data, and another one actually takes the data out of it, and they take a margin or some percentage of the CPM. And data today is something that for advertisers, for the demand, becomes a real point of how to excel when it comes to LTV. We are running our own DMP inside in terms of profiling and segmentation. It's a data that we have. I will never sell it outside. But then again, if an advertiser comes in and he wants right now to spray away and find qualified users, retention-based users, so those are the things that today are the must-haves when it comes to running those performance campaigns.
See a lot of nodding.
Yeah.
Hi, hey, I'm Julia. I actually have a question for Samuel and Zion for Waze and Viber. Going back to the monetization models, I'm just curious, have you tested, and of course it's information if you can share that, have you tried within like good users that use your app every day in markets that you don't have any competition to try subscription models? Because I know you mentioned that because of the community, this is something that you don't want to do, but is it something that you try because you don't even want to go there?
It's a community. Every time you drive in Waze, you're actually sharing information.
Right.
Passively, actively, whatever. It's like Facebook. I mean, it's unacceptable for Facebook to charge subscription. They are all based on the information that you provide. I'm not offering service. I'm actually collecting information from the community, do some manipulation, and provide better service. So the whole concept is about.
I just remember, I think I, in the past, paid for WhatsApp once, and this is something that.
I mean, Apple thing.
Yeah, but maybe this is something you try for specific markets or for specific devices.
But Waze did something really cool with the new app because they don't want to touch and contaminate the original app that has so many users and such an impact. They created a right-with app that has a very clear monetization path of you ride-sharing with someone else and paying or participating.
Actually, Waze will give you money.
No, you actually told me how much I didn't earn this ride. This is what the messages I get.
For us, we didn't try that, but that's because, for example, by the route calls where you call a landline or phone number, these are already paid services. So a good user will be the one that is already using them. But we do make promotions for users that keep on using them. We try to give them more value and keep on using them and invite friends to use these services. But for us, subscription-based, which is in communication app calls, which are paid, it's basically a core feature for us. So everybody gets to use it.
But you could definitely see apps that cannot climb beyond being a free app, but for example, in a market like Japan, they are subscription-based and making millions and getting to break even through subscriptions. So definitely possible.
Yeah, Line, for example, made about $100 million a year just from paid stickers. We don't make that, and we have more users. Okay, so it's a matter of market. Yeah, Japanese, I am at it, not just not Japan. So the Philippines don't pay for enough. So it's really bad.
And
Itamar, you're a social casino news startup.
Waze now food delivery.
Just to repeat the question, David from the Argaman, social casino startup. Just going on the subscriptions, has anyone tried or know about subscriptions in games, like for example slot games, subscription for coins, things like that? Is that allowed by Google and Apple? Or?
I read about it. I read that in Japan they do for some of the apps. It's not really using the app as subscription. In a way, they do it in another way, not in a subscription model. They do it in a way that you pay now and you get coins, whatever, every week, every month.
Yeah,
So
I've seen scatter slots do that as well. I mean, something
yeah. So this is a different. It's not really subscription because Apple doesn't allow subscription for games content.
And on Google Play?
Not that I know of.
In certain cases, I've heard of an app that actually aggregates multiple apps, including games, which is subscription based, and then they spread the revenue usage based. And that's another way of possibly getting subscription money or portions of it, because there's a lot of engagement in games that may actually drive a lot of revenue from that space.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Okay, so I think that is it. So we're now at 10:30, perfect timing. So when we're happy, pretty much finished here. So give everybody a round of applause.
If you came out with nothing else, there's always going to be front
So pretty much we have about a half an hour. You can network, do what you want. If you have any questions, if you're shy, come to me. If you want anybody's contact info as well, after just email me as well. You could Elliot plugged in BD, or you could find it, I'm sure, through the Eventbrite site as well. Thank you again. The next roundtable, well, I'm doing one in New York next month on branded content, which fits in nicely. Probably I'll do something in the end of October after the Hagigim again. I have to figure out a topic still, and then we're doing the big content Israel on December 7th at the Dan Panorama, which you'll see some information going forward. Thank you very much and enjoy.